Good morning, everyone. Weird one today. Want to share a little bit of an experience with you. Before I do that, just a couple of things. Firstly, thank you to a few new subscribers I've had over the last few days. That's obviously very much appreciated. If you do like the videos and you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel. Secondly, I did mention in my last video that I'm starting a series on gambling debts, or just debts in general, and sort of dealing with sort of unaffordable repayments and things like that. That is coming. This video isn't instead of, it's purely because I'm driving to work. It's a Monday morning, and yeah, just thought I'd share sort of a little bit of experience from the weekend from you, really. Now, as everyone knows, if you watch this channel, I am currently in the process of quitting gambling. I say in the process of, I have quit gambling. I haven't gambled for about 4 months, but as well as it's still relatively early doors, so I'm still very much on my guard and still sort of making sure that I stay abstinent at the moment. But what I'm also doing at the moment is I am not drinking. Since the 2nd of January, I haven't had an alcoholic drink, which is, what, 11 days, 12 days, something like that. Doesn't sound huge, to be honest. It's not a huge period of time. For most people, that's not a substantial amount of time. But for me, who pretty much drank daily, I always say when people talk about my drinking, ask me about my drinking, I drank very, very regularly, very rarely excessively. I drank a fair amount of beer, probably 4 or 5 pints a day. Never got drunk, or very, very, very rarely got drunk. But I did drink pretty much every day, which to me, I felt like it was probably a problem. So I did decide that I was going to have a little bit of time off in January. I'm not doing dry January. Yes, the finger thing's back. I'm not doing dry January as such. I don't really tend to go in for those gimmicks because I don't think they're particularly helpful. Very much like sort of quitting something for as New Year's resolution, I don't think it's particularly helpful sometimes, because I think it really puts arbitrary timescales on something, which is maybe a much bigger problem. But anyway, if we put that to one side for a second, my observations of the weekend, well, I've been going to the pub still, despite the fact I'm not drinking. I've been going to the pub, drinking a combination of sort of soda water and Heineken Zero, which actually, if you're off the drink and you like a beer, because you enjoy the taste of beer and everything else, you want to feel like you're having a pint. Heineken Zero is comes sort of reasonably strongly recommended, to be honest. It's one of the very few alcoholic beers non-alcoholic beers, which tastes like beer, or tastes like lager, and doesn't have that weird sort of bittery aftertaste. But anyway, I'm getting distracted already. Yeah, my observations, I've been going to the pub still, despite the fact that I've not been drinking. And I've made what could be quite a productive observation, but also quite a depressing one at the same time, and that is that your drinking buddies, or the people you drink with, if you're a regular drinker and you drink in pubs, you know the sort of people I mean. People you probably wouldn't do anything else with, but you know, you're always pleased to see in the pub and always chat to. They're generally a bit dull when you're not drinking. And this isn't me being high and mighty, trust me, I'm not saying I'm better than them, or because let's face it, I've been not drinking for 12 days or whatever. But yeah, when you haven't had a drink and you're surrounded by these people, and you realise just how sort of inconsequential and how dull it can be. You realise that you fundamentally have the same conversations every time you see each other, and although you're probably aware of this anyway, when you haven't had a drink and you're not really kind of involved in that way, i.e. you're not dumbing down your brain, it becomes a little bit tedious. You'll also notice that there's sort of fairly extended periods of silence where nobody's doing anything but drinking. And if you're not drinking, then you kind of have these weird sort of moments of silence where nobody really has anything to say to each other, possibly because you see each other so much. You also find the jokes are less funny because you haven't basically been lobotomised by alcohol, and you just find that generally the whole experience is a bit sort of tedious and dare I say, a bit depressing, which has kind of left me in a weird position really, because going to the pub was kind of my escapism. Just to give you an outline, I'm married, I'm happily married, but I have a teenage stepdaughter at home, which is never what you'd call necessarily a fun experience. And yeah, sometimes you need to get away, and the pub was always sort of my my point of escape. It was my place to go after work before I went home, to relax a bit before I went home. So when I got home, I was a kind of nicer, more relaxed person. It's also my place on the weekend. I just, normally dip out on a Sunday, go and watch some football. And yeah, I always used to enjoy it. But just the last couple of times I've been since I've been off the alcohol, it's just made me realise that, it's actually a bit depressing. And it's actually, you don't have anything in common necessarily with these people you're drinking with, other than the fact it's mutual company, it's people to drink with. It's almost, I think you almost surround yourself with fellow drinkers, and again, I'm not claiming any kind of superiority here, because I'm not, but it's almost like you're reaffirming your position as a drinker by looking popular and by surrounding yourself with other people who do the same thing. And the same can be tied into gambling. I had people I used to go out and gamble with. Now, one or two of these I'd actually class as genuine friends, because I'd been out with them, and not been gambling. So, this isn't to say that everyone you drink with or everyone you gamble with is necessarily not a friend. But there are certainly people that I used to go out and used to gamble with, or used to see when I was gambling, or associate with, that actually they're not real friends. You have nothing in common with them except for that vice. Now it's a bit of an interesting revelation, really, because ultimately it means that I don't have as many friends as I thought I did. So yeah, now not gambling, not drinking, and not having these people to socialise with, I find myself with exceptional amounts of free time. Whereas time before was taken up with drinking, gambling, and even when I stopped drinking initially and stopped gambling initially, I would still spend time with these people. I'd still go to the pub, I'd still associate with the gamblers, I'd just watch them gamble instead. When all of that falls away, you're left with quite a void. And I think what you need to do is find something to fill that void, because otherwise you actually mourn the loss of these non-friends. You mourn the loss of this lifestyle, which actually, through sober eyes or through gamble-free eyes, depending on which angle you're looking at it, it's actually a bit depressing. There's nothing beneficial to you there at all. And I'm not, like I say, I'm not disrespecting these people. I'm not disrespecting the pub thing as a whole, because actually I'm an active supporter of pubs. I think I really enjoy going to the pub, but I think just sitting in a pub for hours on end with this group of people you surround yourself with, it's not healthy. It's actually quite dull, and it's certainly time that you could be spent doing something better. I actually went home in the second half of the football yesterday and watched the second half of the football with my wife, and I actually found, with a cup of tea of all things, and how very terribly British, of all things, and actually I enjoyed it so much more. So yes, if you stop gambling, if you stop drinking, if you stop doing any of these things, you may feel that sense of loss. And this goes back to what I said in my previous video, which I may well tag above if I can remember, about how when you first quit something, sometimes life can seem that bit harder and that bit worse, because you're actually getting rid of some of the things you thought you enjoyed. But trust me, I think that, I don't use the word toxic, because like I say, I don't have any disrespect for these people, but getting rid of people who aren't really friends, or people who just actively reinforce your position on drinking, reinforce your position on gambling, and that's quite often maybe what we're after, is this affirmation that what we're doing is okay and is normal. Actually, when you do that, you find yourself, you freed up a lot more time. And I, for one, am going to now try and find some more productive, more interesting things to do with that spare time. And yes, when I discover what these newfangled things are, of course I'll keep you posted. But anyway, for now, that's the end of that video. Like I say, the series on debt is coming soon. I may record an introduction very shortly after this video, if the traffic doesn't get any better. But that is coming soon. If you haven't already, I would ask that you subscribe. It's always nice to see that number going up. Good to know that I'm reaching a few more people, and really as well, thanks to everyone that's commented, because it's really nice to hear your comments. So many positive comments come in. Not just positive comments about the videos, which everyone likes a bit of an ego massage every now and then, but also positive comments about everyone else's recovery. People are doing really, really well, and it's great to hear your stories. Even if you're not doing so well, even if you're struggling at the moment, drop us a message. It's great to hear from you, and yeah, hopefully my videos can help in some small way. Thanks very much for watching anyway. Have a great day wherever you are, and yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. See you soon, guys.